you're going to have more depth this year, and that's a perfect reason to watch this game.
And I think, Brady, one of the great things about Ohio State is you can put players in front of 80,000 people. And you're a player, and you've done that before. It takes your breath away the first couple of times you perform that. So I always use the
Will Howard, who battled for the starting quarterback spot at Kansas State. He understands this situation. He's in the transfer position that Adrian Martinez was in. What are you watching today, Brady?
Well, I want to see his command of the offense. I mean, really the two things you're trying to accomplish is showcasing your command, but also the trust that your coaches have in you in executing this offense.
A little T formation maybe for Woody Hayes here at Ohio State.
And everybody's kind of on a pitch count. We used to say the 1,000 rep club. When you get 1,000 reps, why are you still continuing? Your body just the wear and tear. So thud is full speed until you get to the bulk here. Everybody stay up at all costs. You did that obviously in the NFL. That's why you practiced.
That's right.
You saw Travion Henderson with the catch there. We've seen Quinshon Judkins as well, the transfer from Ole Miss. It's a pretty well-stocked running back room for the Buckeyes.
Bounty of riches. I mean, really, when you're talking about quite possibly the best 1-2 punch that there is in college football.
And I think the one thing that Chip Kelly is going to bring to this offense is expanded run game now. Yep. Ohio State's always had dynamic throwers. Now they have two of the best running backs in the country. You're going to see an expanded run game.
One of the most innovative offensive minds in college football. Here you see a little end around for Ballard, Joel, for Ibuka.
Take care of the football. Already got the ball in midfield, so let's see what happens here.
And there's cute guys. Quinshon Judkins here, his carry. I'll tell you, I'm excited to see him play this year.
Yeah, I mean, he is one of the most used tailbacks the last couple of years at Ole Miss. #1 in carries, 545 wear and tear.
He can handle the workload, but I think one of the things that running backs nowadays in college football look for is the opportunity to play, but not have so much wear and tear where you're looked at as a depreciating asset at the next level, at the NFL level.
Very business school of depreciating asset, Brady.
Yeah, can I get a dictionary down here? I don't know where Brady's going.
It's early, Joel, but I mean,
man,
look.
Hitting us with the depreciating asset here.
Will Howard's opening drive as a Buckeye. Little pump and go here. Looking for the end zone and incomplete. Caleb Downs was the closest to it, the cornerback, the safety transfer from Alabama. A couple of guys have come here from the Crimson Tide after Nick Saban's retirement. That 30-day window opened up and Ohio State pounced.
And Caleb Downs was the best player in the transfer portal this offseason.
Third down for Will Howard. The pressure did get there, and Buckeye fans, Coach Meyer, are going to hope to see that a lot this year from guys like Jack Sawyer.
Yeah, they're returning JT and Jack Sawyer to the top NFL prospects this year as a defensive end, so expect a lot of pressure.
What are your thoughts on the offensive line when you see that happen?
And 80,0usn people want to see the darn ball in the end zone.
That's right.
Get so upset. Let's go, man. Give me the ball.
You're saying nobody wants to see the punter or Joe McGuire.
Not unless you're Iowa.
He's just doing his job. Hey, wow, Torrey Taylor.
You can't do that. You can't do that.
I mean,
what are we doing?
Lincoln Keenholz on for the second series. So, and there's a botched exchange. Two gasps here at Ohio State. So we saw Lincoln Keenholz in the Cotton Bowl in back of Devin Brown. He's the guy that gets the second series here.
Yeah, and that exchange there, you've got a true freshman and James Peoples at running back. And at the quarterback, I mean, you've got to do a good job. Make sure you put it in that mesh point and ride it all the way through.
To the outside, there is Jeremiah Smith, 5-star recruit. Coach, you ask anybody about him in this building, and they gush.
The comment was made to me by the GM of Mark Pantoni, who was on my staff and was with me in Florida. He says, you hate to put this kind of pressure on a player this young, as good a first-year player as he's ever seen. Wow. And I repeat, ever. That's a strong word.
Yeah, guys, the talk of camp, really, in spring has been Jeremiah Smith. Coach, Jeremiah Smith, what can you tell us about number 4?
He's got a chance to be special. He really does.
So we'll get thud from the ones like you discussed, and then we'll get a live tempo here, taking guys to the ground with the 2s.
Joel, you're down there, you're looking at him. Jeremiah Smith, just in terms of physicality and athleticism, what's your estimation?
He looks like a guy that's a fourth-year senior. You know, like that you come down here, he's he's about 6'3", 6'4", 215, almost 220 pounds. But it's the ease with which he moves, his fluidity. And from what I saw from some practices and then on their practice tape, his ability to adjust and make catches in contested areas for a young player is really second to none.
I don't want this to sound like an overstatement talking about Jeremiah Smith, but I live in the South Florida area. I had the chance to go watch him play at Chaminade Madonna, and it really reminded me of a guy who was in my class coming out of high school, LeBron James.
Really?
That's how dominant he was. That's how so many years ahead of, I think, where most young men are at this age. So I understand what comes along with that statement, but this young man's going to tear up college football, in my opinion.
Really?
Yes. It's real. There's pictures, video.
Coach, what's that like?
Well, I remember when we got Percy Harvin, you get those kind of, this college football is about recruiting. And when you get a player of that magnitude, of course, that's going to change the great state of Ohio. That's going to change your program. It's going to make the head coach's life a little easier.
I had the chance to talk with their strength and conditioning coach, Mickey Marotti, who, they do the pre-testing when you first get to campus to see how explosive and how fast you are. And you know what name he brought up? He said the only other player I've ever seen step foot on campus was like this was Percy Harvin. With the opportunities that he's presented, he can operate within this offense, and he's got the athleticism to be a part of the running game too. And his advantage on Will Howard in this quarterback competition is the fact that he's got chemistry with a lot of the guys he's throwing to. The terminology for the offense is the same, even though Chip Kelly's calling the plays, and maybe there's some wrinkles here and there with the run game. The terminology is going to be the exact same.
Well, that's the history of Chip Kelly and Ryan Day as well.
Chip Kelly, Dan Mullen, and Ryan Day.
It is a history that goes a long way back. So Devin Brown in the offense with...
You want to evaluate everything in this situation because you don't know the quarterback. And Brady, when you have 7 quarterbacks on a roster...
Take me to how you evaluate your guys, Will and Devin, in a thud tempo style. What are you looking at? Getting that ball out of your hand quickly.
Well, that's it. Yeah, you can't take sacks, especially not here in the red zone. You want to get vertical right there. Like right there, you pick up about 4 or 5.
Winning the Avocado League title in California for Julian Sayin. It's a different feeling. But you were talking about that, Coach, that when you are in this environment, third down for Sayin, climbing the pocket, and the walls collapse again, Joel.
Yeah, Coach, how about the Woody Hayes nod from Chip?
Yeah, I'm not surprised. He loves kind of being creative about stuff, and he's got a great history of the game, and so he wanted to kind of do that. And he always got tricks up his sleeve as the year goes on. So the guys enjoyed that, and we pulled up some old film, and he wanted to put that out there for the first play.
Every single week he's got different wrinkles, and he finds ways of getting to edges, setting up the run game. And if you couldn't stop it, he will not be afraid to run it again and again and again and again until you can't stop it.
You saw Will Howard with his hands to his head. They're testing out the whole new communication system in college football. There's a lot to talk about with the iPads over on the sideline as well, and rules about that we will see differences in college football this year. Will they get a playoff before the end of the first quarter? See, I have to earn my keep as a play-by-play announcer and talk strategy.
Doesn't look like they're rushing to.
Oh, Brady, come on. This is... Come on, let's get some hustle here. Get one more play before the end of the first. Well, that's it. Well, it's the Grays so far, 9-3. Strong start for the defense. We've seen a bunch of quarterbacks. So much more downstairs with Jenny and Joel as well from Columbus.
What went into your decision? What excites you about this group of receivers this season?
Yeah, coming out of the year last year, I was really 50-50 about what I was going to do. And I just lent on the Lord for it. And I was just continually in prayer. And being back here was just is a dream come true. I'm glad to be part of this special group.
Really special group. You called this guy, Jeremiah Smith, a freak athlete in all the best ways. What have you seen from him? What should this fan base be excited about?
Excited for everything, man. He has everything that you want, a prototypical wide receiver. He's a pro, how he goes about his business. So he fits our culture perfectly, and he's going to continue the trek of what we have at wide receiver here.
Jeremiah, why'd you want to be here? Oh, he's got to go. Well, so much for that.
See ya.
You know, this does feel a little bit new, right? We're just trying to get guys when we can. I will try to get a quote from Jeremiah and Carnell, but what I was going to say, obviously, Jeremiah Smith, the excitement around this young talent, everyone has told me he just keeps his head down. He gets to work. He doesn't say too much yet. He lets his play do the talking. And then with Carnell Tate, he's just really been one of those guys that they're excited to see what he does in this second year, this sophomore season. Marvin Harrison Jr. saying he could be one of the best receivers to come through Ohio State.
And Marvin Harrison Jr. himself was one of those. Certainly, Jenny, I was going to say, he looked very serious as you were standing there talking to Emeka, and that's how all business he was. He just walked away because he had to put his helmet on.
And I'm obviously putting them a little bit on the spot here,
right.
But I said, Jerry, give me a couple receivers. He brought everyone. Now I feel bad I didn't ask everyone a question, but that's what this is all about. It's to have the experience at the shoot, to get excited, and you can just already feel the intensity surrounding this group, and I think that's what excites all of us. And I know Joel's going to chat with Coach Hartline as well about the potential of the group.
I'm just looking at Coach's reaction.
Coach Meyer is cringing because we're talking with everyone during the game. I got Coach Hartline right here, fellas, and we were just talking about your lineage of great players, you know, first-round wide receivers. You're about to have another one here in a couple of weeks with Marv.
Wanted to be here. He's already graduated, so it wasn't about graduating. It was just unfinished business. He wanted to lead this group. He wanted to be his room.
That's what allowed him to be an NFL caliber wide receiver too, is all the little things, how detailed he was, and he shares that and brings that to the way he coaches up these young men.
You know, starting all the way back with, you know, Terry McLaurin and KJ Hill and those guys, Paris, those guys, it just kind of, there was old guy after old guy after old guy. Chris Olave, then you know, Garrett Wilson, then Marvin, then, you know, Olave, all these different guys. What does it mean to have that leadership lineage as well to a room?
I think that's any room, but especially the receiver room, because that's you have to become an unselfish player receiver to have an offense run. The minute receiving crews become selfish, you see offenses go in reverse, Brady, because they quit blocking on the perimeter, run game goes sideways, and they become selfish players about getting the ball. And that becomes, every young player is selfish. If you have veteran players.
Oh, my goodness. That's ridiculous.
If I could make a catch like that, I think I would be pretty selfish.
Joel, you can step
leader.
there quarterback if you got receivers that make catches like that, right?
Well, from field level, from down here, that ball looks like a borderline throwaway. And then he goes up like that one-handed. What a remarkable. How about, hey, Coach, how about Meck with that one?
Yeah, that was a good catch. Meck dealt with a high ankle sprain the majority of last year, so you really didn't get a chance to see the real Meck all season. You know, he was a 1,000-yard receiver the year before. It's going to be great to have him back for another year.
Now he's basically like an old beard. He's like,
watch this right here. Watch this.
Oh.
Well, we got to get the ball to him sooner.
Jermaine Matthews said no thank you.
Give him a chance on any 50-50 ball. It's not 50-50. I mean, he just got to get the ball out sooner. Just throw it to him.
Brady, those are the best guys in the world, right?
Yes, it is. And I was just going to say, this epitomizes too the reaction from Coach Day when Jeremiah Smith committed to coming to Ohio State. You can see why, as a true freshman, getting that sort of treatment.
It's the first incompletion for Will Howard on the drive. 6 for 7. We've seen both running backs. He goes for the back of the end zone, and it's incomplete. Igbinosin on the coverage of Jeremiah Smith. I think the crowd wanted Henderson to go to the house a couple of plays ago, but it was blown dead as they play the thud system with the ones to the end zone, and that's a really tough catch there for Ibuka to make.
Man, I tell you guys, the coverage has been incredible. Like field level, we get a different perspective down here. You know, Brady, it's like being in the pocket.
Right.
And you remember those days, and it's like, man, these guys are just covered. That's the way it looks right now from behind the quarterback.
And that's how it looks from up here, too. It looks like that Velcro coverage. Everyone's stuck on everyone. Really can't get much separation.
The word ever is a strong word. There was 6 or 7 first-round draft picks right in a row here, and so when he says that, this could be one of the best secondaries in college football.
They're certainly going to need the depth. And as you look at a team...
Yeah, we won 3 national championships, but the untold story there, Brady, is in 09 and 15. I think those teams are actually more talented than championship teams. So you would always look at the, you know, it's kind of coach speak. Well, what are the intangibles and the tangibles? The tangibles, of course, are talent. Your quarterback can't just be a great thrower. He's got to be a playmaker, get the first down, keep you in a manageable situations. Your defensive front 7, that is usually the difference maker when you get to the big game. A strong offensive line to control the line of scrimmage. You've seen that the last 10 national champions. And then you have to have corners, which Ohio State obviously does. Now here's the intangibles. Toughness, you have to be a tough, rugged outfit. You saw that last year from Ann Arbor. That was a tough, rugged outfit. You have to have leadership because the coaches aren't always around. What are they doing? Are they taking care of their bodies? Do you have great leadership, a great practice team, selflessness, and you have to have an elite staff.
Joel, I believe you've got Chip Kelly in a moment here downstairs.
Yes, sir. Standing with Chip Kelly. That's a nice run from Lincoln right there. So you're going to have Brian call some plays here. Chip, why? That's the question, right? I think everybody is wondering that. Well, why are you here?
I just want to coach football. I think in this day and age, things are changing, and I coach our quarterbacks in our bowl game. And I hadn't been in a meeting room. As a head coach, you're in a meeting room all the time, but you're in and out. But I hadn't been in a meeting room on a consistent basis since 2008 when I was an assistant. And I had a lot of fun. And it's the best part of football is football, and I love coaching football and getting to do that. I think sometimes the role has changed. You're a little bit more of an administrator, not at all places, but at some places. And you got to fundraise, you got to do a lot of those things. And I just wanted to coach ball. And if I was going to go somewhere, it would be somewhere where the program shares the same values and visions that I have. And I've known Ryan since he was a little kid. So, when he called and we talked about it a little bit, it was intriguing.
Well, it's obviously a great fit because of the guy that you're going to work for. But obviously now this offense that you have, and you're going to be charged with trying to make a plan that has a number of different skill position players that you got to get the ball.
We do, and I think that's our job as a coaching staff. I think we got an unbelievable staff here on the offensive side of the ball. That it's always a collaborative effort, and Ryan's still going to be really, really involved. Ryan is not a CEO. I mean, he's a football guy himself. So the fact that all of us will contribute and put a game plan together we have talented wideouts, we got really talented running backs. We got to figure out who the quarterback's going to be, and we're playing through this whole thing right now. But we feel really good about the group we have on the offensive side of the ball.
What is your call it one thing that you really want to see here today?
Just production, and can you move a group? And we're rotating a lot of quarterbacks. Everybody's going to get reps.
How was it when your former pupil ran over here and he started barking calls? He said, "No more of that play."
I was good with that. That play wasn't working. That was a good call by him.
There we go. Good decision by his former quarterback, fellas.
Joel, thank you. That interception for Calvin Simpson Hunt of Waxahachie, Texas. So you heard Ryan Day and Chip Kelly talk about their relationship. That's from way back in the day. Ryan was his quarterback coach, assistant at a couple of spots, including the Philadelphia Eagles, and he went with him to the 49ers as well.
To be a play caller now, that's a full-time job. That's an 8 to 10 hour a day job when you're getting ready. It wasn't that way. You remember the early days, teams ran very simplistic. Now also in the evolution of the digital phase of college football, it is a complex, full-time job to be a play caller.
Ryan Day is with us. He's listening to our conversation. Jason Benetti, Brady Quinn, Urban Meyer upstairs. Thank you for doing this with us. How complex is calling plays? How much time were you actually practically spending doing that?
Yeah, there's only so many hours in the day. So, how do you spend your time? And, when you're trying to call plays, you have to come up with these contingency plans for all the different scenarios that can come into play. So everybody has a game plan, and we spend a long time trying to go through all the different scenarios. So when you look at someone's call sheet, it's not all these different plays. It's all these different contingency plans for down and distance, certain defenses you may see, areas of the field. And so you're constantly playing the game in your head and trying to do that before you actually get on the field. So you're making decisions in a different environment than actually the stress of a game. So, yeah, there's no question. You and I have talked about that. I think you're exactly right. I mean, today's day and age, the amount of time it takes and everything that's going on, I just think it's so important, and every year you have to take a look. We've been a play away or a drive away from reaching our goals each year. And you got to be self-reflective and try to figure out what do you need to do to get that done. And the first thing was getting the right people in the right seats. That was the players. And then it was getting the right coaches on the right spot and making that decision, for me to be self-respective enough to say, I need to be around the defense more. I need to be around the special teams more. I need to do more with NIL. I need to do more with the team. So I think this is an opportunity to really free some of that time up.
And especially as your roster building, right? I mean, the roster build, early December. You think about early December for you or any head coach around the country. And coach, you never had to deal with this, back in the day, but now you've got early signing day, and the portal open at the exact same time. So the time commitments, just from a CEO GM standpoint, have gone through the roof.
Yeah, and you have to find ways to adapt. I mean, that's the most important thing in today's day and age. And I think that here we've done that, and that's been the support of so many people. Certainly the players coming back and the culture that these guys have continued to enhance, but also the support of Buckeye Nation and what they've been able to do to help us. And so everything moves faster down here. You have to be ready for extremes, but the ball's got to come out and at quarterback. You got to take care of it, and you got to make sure you understand the type of throws you got to make. So you got to throw top shelf throws. You got to throw down and dirty throws. I think Devin did a nice job of top shelfing that right there. That was a nice RPO, well-designed play. I think the linebacker jumped in a box and we got behind him.
Those are the standards, though, here at Ohio State, right? It'll be that much better. You can see Devin Brown had one-on-one coverage, just man-to-man, and got his eyes in the right spot.
How much faster does that have to come out, Brady?
Maybe a tick, like coaches would say. It's tough to police these guys, but just ran with a nice catch in the back of the end zone.
And once again, that was an RPO, as you heard Coach Day said. That means that's a run first. He was reading, I think he was reading the walkout defender there. He triggered and threw the ball over his head.
Yeah, guys, okay, here's what we got here. Coach is giving them, we've got a minute 33. He's giving them 3 timeouts right now, and Julian Sayin is getting the series here. So a nice opportunity to see a young guy in a setting he's never been in front of all these people try to run a 2-minute drill.
Coach Meyer, what are you watching here?
Like Coach Day said, this is all production. This will be charted. This will be exactly, you got the ball in your hand as a quarterback. Take the team down the field.
And it's first half, right? So the biggest thing as a quarterback is you want to go down and get points. It's not the end of the game where you got to have something to win it. So not going to be taking too big a risk here.
James Peoples, a couple of touches. He will get out of bounds situationally to set up a 3rd down and short. That was Simpson Hunt with the tackle who had the pick earlier. But this is a 5-star recruit, Julian Sayin, who makes an even more interesting quarterback room out of this thing.
And the quarterback position, as important and even more important than any other position on the field, is about repetition and opportunities in situations like this. These are priceless situations for a quarterback.
Hard run for Peoples and a 1st down right through Mitchell Melton.
Clock stop there with the 1st down. See, this is what you see. Coach Day, he has not been this active all day long, and now he is in it, talking to Julian, telling him little coaching points, wanting Julian to make sure he understands the situation. Get the 1st down, hand the ball off, get the ball out quickly. So a lot of coaching going on right now. You don't get to come out here and play in front of this many people until the Bullets are live, and so this is an invaluable opportunity.
And just think about the situation, Joel and Brady, is Ohio State's big win last year at Notre Dame was what? 2-minute drill.
Yep.
They failed against a team up north. The big talent-equated games come usually down to this.
Yeah, and obviously your execution, your understanding of what you're trying to accomplish in each drive is a huge piece of that. And Julian saying, you get to a spot here now where it's 3rd down. You've still got a bunch of timeouts.
I wonder if the wind affected that.
Yeah, it did.
But yeah,
it did. It's right
yeah.
into the wind. The wind's blowing hard from basically far sideline to near sideline. See, that one's getting hit by the wind and it got undercut.
That's exactly what happened. It's picked off, and so this great defense has a 2nd interception in the ball game. They're going to blow it dead. Jalen McClain doesn't care, though. He's going to the house because he wants to.
That whole side doesn't care. Look at him. All the great team down there.
And that was one where the wind might have knocked it down a little bit, but it's just a tad late too. And that's something, again, you're accustomed to seeing if it's a freshman out there, new offense. He's a young player, it's still learning. So a little different as compared to if it was Will Howard, Devin Brown, when those guys make those sorts of mistakes.
But he's going to have to sit with that, right? He doesn't have a ton of experiences here at Ohio State, so that's his knowledge of what he did in this game. And now Jupe Mitchell with the catch a moment ago, that for Patrick Gerd, and Lincoln Keenhold's trying to drive him down under a minute.
That's also good for him to practice having a short-term memory, right?
Yep.
Even though that might be one of the things that sticks out, you got to improve upon. It's also something that you can't hang on. He's going to get a lot of reps here in the 2nd half.
That's a good check down right there. I know it doesn't look like it, but we can get close to the 1st. Now you got to get going. There's a timeout right there.
Joel loves checkdowns, by the way.
I do.
2nd and 3 here. They've used a timeout, 24 seconds. Should be the final drive of this 1st half.
To our conversation, that's good from 38. It's not good from 48.
At a national championship.
I think my favorite part of this game so far is the holder required for a kickoff because the wind is so fierce downstairs. Here are some of the names of the players, and we won't see Ransom in this game, still dealing with the after effects, the Liz Frank injury from last year. But it's at every level, Coach Meyer, that they have guys back.
Well, we're going to talk about this, I think, here in a little bit, but you have 8 teams in the country right now that I think can swing for the mountain, can swing for the home run, and that's a national championship. And what's going to be the difference? The defensive front seven. The majority of the times when you have beasts on that front seven, which Ohio State does, you're in every game and you have a chance to win it all.
Joel, from field level, how salty is this defense?
It's very good. Make our checks, make our adjustments. On the offensive side, it was a little more salty, I can tell you that, in terms of their lack of production so far.
I hadn't heard that. How deep is the secondary, Joel, do you think?
Well, let's put it this way. We're seeing what they can do here today, which is pretty impressive, and we didn't even get to see Lathan Ransom, who's been coming back from an injury. So this is a secondary that's even short-handed today, and you've already got, I would say, I think you got 4 or 5 draft picks out there. Yeah. Coach, you brought up, as good of a secondary as we've seen in a long time. I'll go back to that 19 secondary for Ohio State, 2019. Oh, almost another one. Almost another.
Just putting it into a spot where it's got to be more downhill for the wide receiver, obviously away from the defender. See, Ransom is coming back from that Liz Frank injury, something I suffered through, and trust me, that is not an easy injury to recover from.
What's it feel like, Brady? Oh, deep ball down the sideline and a comeback attempt, and it's incomplete. Coverage for Simpson Hunt, who's been everywhere. Jeremiah Smith with the effort here.
The catches that Jeremiah Smith has been making all spring in practice. Just corralled that one in.
A little surprised old Jeremiah Smith is still in the bowl game here.
What you're seeing, and Brady just alluded to it, you haven't seen him make that catch or get that rhythm.
I thought you'd get to that before I did. Close. To the sideline, and that's right to a defensive player. It's Inky Jones. That's called an interception. Now, there is a replay review team here from the Big Ten to do point-to-point replay reviews, but right now that will stand as a pick for Inky Jones.
Jack Merrick, the tight end, stumbles out of his break. Otherwise, the ball was actually in a decent spot.
What you're about to see in the next 40 minutes in this second half is what the depth of the Ohio State Buckeyes is going to be.
With a transfer portal, you never know where you're all of a sudden, again, having a guy go from being a few plays away to 1 play away, and then all of a sudden thrust it in as your starter at quarterback. That's why these reps right now for Dwayne Sang are incredibly important.
Is that I was at Oregon 2 days ago, and they had yellow, green, and white teams. They weren't saying first, second, third string because they were worried about losing guys. You don't know until April 30th. And a lot of that is getting these guys playing time and making decisions and giving them opportunities.
So the portal opens, Coach, Tuesday is what you're talking about. That's April 16th, and then 30th it closes. I think it's a big reason why Chip Kelly is standing over there calling plays.
I thought what he said to you, Joel, is going to be like a bumper sticker. It's a first down into gray territory. But again, with the length of this season, we're talking about a national championship game on January the 20th, Joel.
So, the fact that we shut it down after the regular season and have a transfer period and a signing day, and then we try to play more football is wild. And I think that should be changed.
Let's see what happens here. Yeah, we should be able to throw this one right behind him. Wow, boy, he decided to hand it off. We get in?
You want a touchdown, Coach?
All right.
There you go.
I would have thrown it, but we'll take it.
James Peoples, the touchdown.
That's what you like to see, though, too, for Buckeyes fans who have concerns about the offensive line. With the physicality, moving some bodies, Peoples finds the hole, and it's all just drive and effort from there.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Great play.
It's quite the ride. You mentioned it, Coach, about the Big Ten.
And the Big Ten.
I'm curious, Coach, how you view teams like UCLA, USC. We've got to construct a roster now that's going to be able to compete with the physicality, the size of some of these Big Ten teams, and even something that you really can't practice is playing in inclement weather. You know, a lot of these guys, I mean, look, we work with Matt Leinart. He's soft as can be. He can't handle.
Oh, ouch.
So how do they have to adjust to those sorts of things that are hard to prepare for?
Well, we're going to get a text from Matt Leinart here in a minute.
3, 2, 1.
But that is a reality, and that is something that Dan Lanning mentioned to me in his Oregon about the Big Ten Conference. It's a little disappointing because you're seeing one of the great conferences in college football disappear, the Pac-12.
Yeah.
But now you're seeing these 4 historically great programs transfer to the Big Ten. Can they adapt? And it's a average plane ride of 2,300 miles, which, by the way, I just did from Oregon to here. That's a tough. Now I wasn't on a charter like they will be.
How far is it mile-wise to get to Augusta? That's the real question.
Man, rub it in, Jason.
Aaron Noland into the ball game. Joel, we've seen Aaron Noland get out of the pocket here a little bit. That is his given name, by the way. His dad had the nickname based on Michael Jordan. What have you seen from him so far?
Well, I mean, he just gets in the ball game, and for Air, it's about, and the coaches have talked about all week with him, is know where to go with the ball. You heard Coach earlier talk about have a plan, and they want to see him have a plan. Now, this is going to be more basic offense here, but have a plan of where you want to go with the football.
It was a quick set, quick throw. He had a plan. He just misfired a little bit.
Whereas the offense is still getting accustomed to Chip Kelly with different pieces mixing at the quarterback spot. So the defense should be ahead of the offense at this point.
Nolan got it to the fringe for Kojo Antwi. And a first down.
Well, obviously, I know the inner workings of the Ohio State program, just being so close to Coach Day. They said he's just a football junkie, has great experience.
That happened, and he developed that after he went from Duke to Oklahoma State. Because think about that era of Big 12 ball when he was the head coach. Good run here, right down the middle.
It's
Beautiful
a
run.
touchdown. Sam Williams-Dixon, the freshman from Pickerington.
Really well blocked up front.
He developed that one-word system, Coach, there in order to combat what was going on with the Big 12, and it's just kind of stuck.
You got a couple former defensive players with you?
I do. Jeff Okudah, Denzel Ward, thank you guys so much for chatting. And truly, what's so special about these spring games that guys want to come back. You want to be a part of this. So I do want to ask you, Jeff, when you were playing at Ohio State, how did this place prepare you for the next level?
Something that we say a lot is that iron sharpens iron. So every day we're at practice, going against the best receivers in the country. And I think it really translates to Saturday. I get an opportunity to go against the Garrett Wilsons, Terry McLaurins, Chris Olave. So those are guys you see making plays on Sunday. Me and Denzel got the chance to compete against them every single day at practice.
It's so fun to see you guys back together because you can already tell that chemistry's still there from your time here. Denzel, when you look at this defense, the secondary, the potential of this group, what are you most excited about? How impressed have you been with the way they've progressed the last couple of years?
Yeah, they've been looking good. Picked it up for sure from the past seasons. Coach has said, they kind of started off slow last year, not the year before that, but now they're looking good and looking like they're going to be the #1 defense though.
How special is this place? The shoe, this atmosphere, these fans, what does it mean to be back?
It means the world. I think that we truly have the best fans in the land, best band in the land. So just being around these guys, top athletes in the world, it's crazy to see the factory that we've been putting out the last few years.
Enjoy it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate
it.
Jenny,
hold on.
Yeah, what do you got?
I've got a quick
Joel.
I've got a quick question for Denzel.
Okay.
You got barbecue back there?
Hey,
and you didn't invite me?
I hope so. That if not, I'm coming.
Gus told me to say hello.
Tell him I said hi.
You got it.
I love
got
Gus,
it.
man. I love Gus.
I mean, we can't not bring that up.
No,
now I feel bad I didn't come up with it.
Anywhere I go, if I see an Ohio State fan, they bring that up.
Really?
That call. Your hit against Maryland and Gus's call.
It was iconic. It was iconic.
That's exactly right.
It was legendary.
That's right. That's right.
It was legendary.
It's great to
kick me out of that. That actually changed the targeting rule. I feel like they start talking about it more and focusing on the targeting rule, like what is really targeting and what is not. So it definitely made a difference. So I was glad I was able to play a part in that transition.
Well, you know what they say, hurt my feelings.
Joel, make sure he knows that was not targeted.
Me in there. As a freshman, I was like, okay, I guess it's time to go.
But by the way, that was not targeted.
It was.
I lost my mind up in the booth. Coach Meyer is up there. He agrees with no targeting.
I love the memories. College football, no matter what this turns into, it's all memories in the end. For Sam Williams-Dixon, who's going to remember this day for a while, you have to imagine.
Those DBs are two of the best. That's one of the things here is we talked about the coverage. Ohio State has the most first-round picks, both wide receivers and defensive backs in any program in college football history. So see just a small window there into the lineage.
Low snap. We haven't seen very much.
Both these guys were highly recruited guys, became household names in the great state of Ohio and national champions, and forever they became extremely close.
See Mason Maggs getting a couple carries, a wide receiver to start his high school career. He then became a quarterback and getting the run there to set up a 3rd down and 5. Ezekiel Elliott is here in the stadium today, Coach.
I still remember he put his left foot in the ground in the Sugar Bowl, and what was it, right through the heart of the South, and we beat Alabama. And Zeke Elliott, from that day forward, his life changed. Because remember the 3-game run he went on?
Yes.
250, 250, 250 against Wisconsin, Alabama, and Oregon.
For the national championship.
And he was a beast. He was a fantastic player and became, in my mind, one of the top backs in Ohio State history.
Joel, any positions that you want Coach Meyer to rank while we're at it?
Well, did you do quarterbacks yet?
Add that to the text chain.
Oh, Matt, he knows I love him.
I love him.
I just know he's kicked up on the couch somewhere hanging out.
Yeah, he is.
His phone's blowing up. He's like, what? Why? I'm trying to have lunch. That's something that you added when you were here, Coach. Take people through that tradition you started.
Yeah, it was actually started in 2001 at Bowling Green. I just wanted to have...
make an impression. These spring games are really those opportunities for a guy like Aaron Nolan, who's making a solid impression so far today.
The players know. Coaches think they know. Players
Because you have the big brother take it off, right?
Right.
Was there a whole ceremony?
Well, I was asking too. I said, were there any players that you were like, that's probably not big brother material? This guy's a great player, but we don't want to give that guy.
Of course, but now you're not going to ask me to name names because that's not going to happen.
Would never do that.
I'm not doing that
on live television.
We naming names? Let's go.
Nice. See, you're safe down there out of the booth, Joel.
Yeah,
you can ask.
This is turning into the Joel Clapp podcast. This is what's happening.
It's becoming a roast of Urban Meyer, and Joel's the MC.
Well, Coach knows I love him.
3rd down and 6 here for the offense. Final play of quarter number 3. Nolan for Juke Mitchell.
Good throw right there, guys.
He's got a live arm, doesn't he, Joel?
All right, so 4th quarter coming up. We are learning a lot about the depth of Ohio State, the pride of this program, the Buckeyes Scarlet and Gray game. A few days here at the Horseshoe and a couple of his teammates downstairs with Jenny Tapp.
All right, well, guys, it's really nice to catch up right now. Jack Sawyer, JT Tuimoloau, 2 veteran leaders who made the decision to come back. Jack, you've been vocal about that choice. You're a Columbus kid. What went into that decision? Now that you're here, a part of it, and excited for next year, how does it feel?
It feels great. Having all these guys back, being a 3rd year in the system with Coach Knowles, I think, JT and anybody else can speak about it too, is, we all feel that much more comfortable with it. We're all excited to go chase after what we came here to accomplish this year and hopefully get it done.
I think that's a great point. And JT, I do want to ask you about how comfortable this group is with Coach Knowles. He's no longer the new guy. Obviously, your defense has been playing so well under him. What is it like playing for Coach Knowles? What does he bring to this mix?
I think you said it, comfortable and confident. With us being the 3rd year in this system, it just allows us to really know him as a coach even more, and just gain more depth in that relationship with him. But Coach Knowles he's a very unique guy, and I don't want him to change. He tests us, and we continue to pick his brain. He continues to pick ours.
Jason, I hear you got a question for these guys?
Yeah, I just want you to ask Jack, because he mentioned being in year 3.
Question for you.
What does he think he knows in year 3 that he didn't in year 2? Like, where's the progression going to be?
What have you learned in year 3 in terms of the progression, just your development right now in year 3 going into it?
I just feel confident. I trust in my abilities. I think the first couple of seasons were kind of not what I really expected, and just kept trusting God and kept putting each day in. Kept going to work and just trusting my abilities to go out there and play confident.
Any other questions from the guys upstairs?
No, we're all good. We'll
You're all good?
see if we can talk to Jim Knowles here in a little bit.
We're going to talk to Jim Knowles. What do we need to ask him? Anything?
We offered Jack Sawyer as a freshman from 15 minutes from here. That's how dominant a player. That was back in the Bosa era. We saw the Bosa type ability.
What did you see? Like when you were watching tape and watching him in person, what did you see?
I see the same thing you see. First of all, great family, great person, but absolutely relentless at everything he does. And I'm a huge fan of Jack Sawyer.
And Pickerton North is a great program, too, here in the Columbus area. You see Sam Williams-Dixon, who's been shown out today at the running back position.
Yeah, he's had a great day so far. Broke free for a touchdown. Coach, how do you learn about depth other than situations like this? As you're watching practice in October, November, those little peaks in games when you have to use guys, how do you learn about your depth?
Well, I think everyone's got to remember these are 17, 18, 19-year-old. They are developmental people. They're not the 25, 26. And those people, those age players improve as well, but the college, a lot of times they'll gain 25 pounds because they're still growing, they're still maturing. So you'll see a Mike Thomas all of a sudden grow up one day like, wait a minute, that's Mike Thomas now. As opposed, and that's one of the great things about coaching college players, the development of people.
I think so. It depends on the depth at certain positions. You know, I know Coach Day talked about they feel like they're going to have the ability to run the quarterback a little bit because they're so deep at quarterback with the competition. Nice throw. Good breakup right there. Got a flag.
It's Deontay Griffin, and the first penalty of the game comes in quarter number 4.
Pass interference. Defense number 43. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
You know, you got to be fast in today's game, particularly against the Chip Kelly offense. I mean, things happen really, really quickly.
Coach, what are you looking at to make those calls? Take us through what you're doing right now.
It's amazing. It's a multitasking. Coach Meyer, you have friends everywhere in this place, don't you?
I do. I have a great friend. Great touchdown run there.
TC Caffey with the touchdown.
The defensive staff is not happy with me down here because they feel like I distracted Coach during the drive. So I might have to leave this side of the field pretty quickly, guys.
But Jason, I have Gene Smith sitting with us, one of the top athletic directors, not at Ohio State, not recent, but in the history of the game, and there's a lot of changes going on.
There's no question about it. I think the model for intercollegiate athletics is going to change, but I tell people all the time, you know, whatever the powers to be do, there's no question, you know, 1% of these guys are going to go pro. The rest of them got to go find a job or they got to go to grad school. So this type of support for practice is kind of amazing.
If I would have asked you when Coach Meyer was coaching here, hey, can we talk to players?
The lights would have gone on and off.
One quick Gene Smith story about, so Nike came in every year and they would always say, okay, tell us about the uniforms. And they bring in these beautiful black uniforms. And Ohio State traditionalists, no chance.
Yeah.
And I'm not real interested. And I'm looking over at Gene and they put this beautiful black jersey up. And Gene and I make eye contact and we're like, oh my gosh, is that beautiful?
Yeah.
And I said, I love tradition, but I love recruiting even better.
That's exactly right.
That's awesome.
I love those uniforms. Those are the best.
Well, Gene, an absolute pleasure to have you.
That's a pleasure. I really appreciate it. Appreciate everything that you guys do. Appreciate you broadcasting this game. I mean, I think this is going to be a unique opportunity and experience for our fans all across the country.
Every year, as you were talking about it, Coach, this game seems to change a little bit, but there's going to be more opportunity in the college football playoff as the defense gets there.
Man, I like the shoe. Part of it is that I think that the unique nature of the college game is that we have non-corporate home environments. And because of that, they are unique, and it's part of the fabric of the sport. And quite frankly, Coach, let's say you're the coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes, and you've got to match up with, I don't know, Ole Miss. Get them up here in the cold.
Right.
They don't want to be here, and you are here. You know, so I think that's part of the advantage.
Yeah, and for the fans. You know, I know we do this really more to find a champion, do it for the student athletes, but also for the fans. Having that home field environment, can you imagine a playoff game in the shoe and what that would be like, and that 12-man advantage that I think they could provide. So for that reason, it's one of the unique parts about college sports that I hope we can keep.
Coach, who do you think the teams are that can actually win a title this year?
You know, every year I used to do this, and I would just put circles and I'd draw the elite. I called it the Elite Eight because realistically, there's not 12 teams that can win a national title. I don't believe so. I think every year there's an 8, and we would always do that. There's my 8. It's Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, the Wolverines, Oregon, Texas, Ole Miss, Utah. Notre Dame was right there on the edge, but I would always evaluate those 8 teams and say, what do they have that we don't have?
I would say it's probably more 10 or 12 in my opinion, especially with the expanded playoff. You never know in a one-game sudden death scenario how that's going to impact some of these teams. But I think it's a solid list. You are missing a couple teams.
He said Notre Dame was right on the outside.
Yeah.
Are your feelings hurt?
He didn't say anything about another team though that won it this past year. Did he have this part of the list?
Which one, Wolverine?
The team up
I had him on there.
He just said the Wolverines. He
surprised
skipped the location.
I'm surprised you even put on the list, Coach.
Well, they got it going right now. They're the man until you beat the man, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Is there any overlap between the two?
You have to keep on competition.
People love college football.
Every day.
That's right. And they, by the way, they love Joel Klatt.
No, but they're both watching each other. This is what, hey guys, think about this. Rivalries drive the sport. They're not just great, they drive the sport. Why did Michigan go all in and do what they were able to do? Because Wolverines had lost to Ohio State for a decade straight, basically. Now guess what happens? Ohio State, what are they doing? Loading up. Why? Because Michigan just won a national championship. You know, you watch each other and you have to compete against your rival.
And the ratings would prove that. You probably get a lot of fans watching Birmingham, Alabama.
It's called hate watching is what you're describing, right?
Yeah, it's a part
scouting.
of
It's called scouting.
Your competition.
Yeah. Well, guys, this has been an absolute joy. We have 7 seconds left.
But how much time do we have, Coach, until that game, the game?
Well, it's 231 days, or if you're really counting.
Yeah, we'll see it all the way through the season.
I saw it on a Mercedes-Benz once. I didn't see the M X'd out on that Mercedes-Benz that came out.
You think it depends on the car? How about that? It's a long way to go for Aaron Nolan to try to create, and instead it's Deontay Griffin, who was called for the penalty earlier. He wants to run all the way to Cleveland, and he's just going to keep going.
For the win!
The great team together down the sideline. The whistle was blown, but look, it's spring football. The whole defense went to the house, and who's going to say no?
I think the Tigers call that a walk-off, Jason.
I think they do, Joel, yeah. Joel, I wanted you to join the caravan into the end zone. Oh, a team picture. Impromptu team picture.